Tonight, thousands of immigrant truckers in California could lose their commercial licenses.
This comes after criticism from the Trump administration about California and other states granting these drivers licenses to people in the country illegally. CBS 8's Esmeralda Perez spoke with local immigration attorneys about what is happening now. Esmeralda?
Well, California is back at it again. What is wrong with California? Like, seriously, like giving out driver's license to 17,000 illegal immigrants, and now they're revoking it. Do you know the liability? Oh, California. I don't know what's going on. Why? And the crazy thing is, for Americans, you got to go through all this training. You got to do all this stuff. It's different rules for different people. But I don't understand where they do that at. Like, different rules for different people. So you could come across the border and just go get a license. That is that. I don't know who's running. Uh, what is going on? And people think this is justified. Having these driver's license revoked is probably one of the best thing that's going to happen for the trucking industry, because what was happening is there were a lot of cheap freight out there. Many truckers said that, the rates are so low. There was a point where truck drivers was exiting, was leaving the business. They said they can't drive across the country for $1,000. Now I'm exaggerating, but the loads were low and cheap. I have family members in the trucking industry, so I hear it all the time. Like, the loads are like, who's gonna work for that? And you're trying to wonder, like, why are the loads so cheap? Why are there cheap freight? Why truckers can't make a decent living? Voila, with 17,000. And a lot of people don't know, as far as having your truck compliance, as far as with DOT, California is very strict, but yet they're issuing driver's license to illegal migrants, immigrants, whatever you want to call it. And then you got to ask the question, right? If these people are allowed to get driver's license, right? Think about it. If these people are allowed to get driver's license, then who's to say they're not allowed to vote in our elections? If they have a legit driver's license from the state of California, well, they don't require, I forgot, they don't require. They said it's racist and it's this and it's that and it's bias, blah, blah, blah. But who's to say that, well, they don't need a driver's license, but it's just another proof to say, hey, I'm allowed to vote, just in case they require it. Because if they're being given a CDL, a commercial driver's license, then automatically you're thinking like, hey, they're a US citizen. Even though it's not required to vote, it is a strong proof of identification.
This all centers around 17,000 commercial driver's licenses issued to immigrants. Now, state transportation officials say the DMV flagged those licenses after a review found they were not issued in line with California law. Under state rules, a California commercial driver's license can't be valid longer than a person's legal presence documents on file. When those dates don't match, the license should not be issued or renewed. Thousands of immigrants with CDLs have been sent 60-day notices that their licenses will be canceled. U.S. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy said in part, after weeks of claiming they did nothing wrong, Gavin Newsom and California have been caught red-handed. Now that we've exposed their lies, 17,000 illegally issued trucking licenses are being revoked. A spokesperson for Governor Gavin Newsom provided a statement which says, once again, Sean Road Rules Duffy fails to share the truth, spreading easily disproven falsehoods in a sad and desperate attempt to please his dear leader.
Going to affect a lot of workers.
Tonight, I spoke with private immigration attorney Ian Cerullo about this situation to get his legal perspective.
Work authorization, okay, will always, always ends at the, at the time that your authorization to stay in the U.S. ends. But, the issue is that many of these drivers actually still have, a status. It's just that they are waiting for. Many of them are waiting for renewal.
My man could barely speak English, but that's besides the point. And he's just one of few. Eh, You can't just come over here in 2 days and just get a commercial driver's license. I mean, work authorization is one thing. This isn't like picking oranges or doing some mundane type of job where you're just, it doesn't require a lot of, heavy machinery. You're talking about a commercial driver's license, driving a tractor trailer. You got to learn the roads. You got to be able to maneuver. You got to know the turns. You have to know how to read and write. Do not enter. You got to learn how to stay in your lane. Some of these countries, they drive on the other side of the road. So there's a lot that, and you have to pass tests. You got to take a test. You got to take a physical exam. You have to, what, speak English. You have to, what, pass a permit. You got to take training. And you have to be a legal citizen, a American citizen. You have to be at least a permanent resident. And this is so you will not be taken advantage of. Like a lot of y'all don't understand. Like they take advantage of, like if you don't have your stuff together, of course these brokers gonna give you like a cheap load. And what is that gonna do for the people that have all their stuff together? They're not gonna work for that amount. And then you're gonna call them lazy and say, oh, the Americans are lazy. They don't want to work. They're like, no, you can't. You can't. I'm a owner operator. I have a truck that requires fuel, and I can't. There's no way I could work for that amount.
Right, of their status and also of their work authorization.
Immigration attorney Samana Seri says it's important to distinguish between regular driver's licenses, which undocumented people can get, and commercial licenses.
Commercial license is much different, right? So there's a higher liability there. And as we've been seeing in the news, unfortunately, in the last few months, a few commercial driving accidents having to do with people who are undocumented. And so because of the backlash of that and what's going on and their repercussions to the DMV, they're taking action now against these licenses.
As for people in the industry, they're worried about the widespread impact. Rajinder Singh is the president and CEO of Global Truck Permits and says there could be a ripple effect across the trucking industry.
This will not only hit to the trucking company, this will hit everybody in America.
Bruh. Can't make this stuff up.
And I also spoke with an economics professor at the University of San Diego who warned this could have potentially national consequences. He says the U.S. is already short 60 to 80,000 truck drivers, and about 18% of current drivers are foreign-born. Removing 17,000.
You know, they're always trying to scare us with that stuff like, oh my gosh, if we don't have so many immigrants, we're gonna starve. Like they gotta cut it out. Like, oh my, if we don't have it, no, like there's a process to come here. Go through the process, do it the right way. Like we're not gonna go hungry. We're not we in America are eating very well. I would say too well, where we should cut back on the calories. The kids are overweight, adults are overweight. They got to make the seats in the plane a lot bigger. The seats, like we are, it's very hard to starve in America. It is very hard. Food is in abundance. Like you can always find something to eat. So not having these people here from various countries around the world is not going to affect the trucking industry. And people from other countries that came the right way, they're advocating for this because they too are affected. They're taken advantage of. So California got to get it together. Listen, like, subscribe, follow. I'm going to see you guys next time.